All right. So we can jump right in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our kickoff webinar for NewsMatch 2022. I'm super excited that you could join me today. A few housekeeping things just really quickly. First and foremost, I will be recording this presentation, so it will be made publicly available via the NewsMatch support site at a later date in case you want to share it with anybody or revisit anything that will be available. Two, if you could just let me know in the chat if you're able to see this slideshow, that would be great. You should see the slide getting started with NewsMatch. And three, apparently my neighbor is doing some pretty extensive landscaping right now, so I apologize in advance if you hear some loud noises in the background. So I will try to get to every question I can within the hour, but if I don't get to your question, I may follow up individually or share written responses to commonly asked questions in the webinar recap blog post. So lots of options there. And please note that we are in webinar format, so only my audio and video is enabled at the moment. All of that aside, to those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Meta Stange, and I'm the program manager for NewsMatch. I joined INN in January and was previously the digital audience and engagement manager at WDET, which is Detroit's NPR station. So I have been in your shoes before. I have helped execute a NewsMatch campaign before, and I'm so looking forward to working on the program with you. Here's a quick overview of what we'll be covering today. First, we'll review the fundamentals of NewsMatch, including a little bit of program history and program objectives. Next, we'll address the 4 phases of NewsMatch. This is what you can expect from the campaign period, which starts now and runs through January. Finally, we'll share some resources that are available to you now, as well as an overview of training and coaching for the summer and early fall. We'll have some commonly asked questions weaved in throughout the presentation. And if you have any questions as I'm going through this, I encourage you to drop them in the chat and I'll try to respond to them if they're pertinent to where we are in the conversation, or you can hold them till the end and we'll have dedicated time to address them then. So without further ado, let's dive in. So you may know that NewsMatch provides unrestricted grant funding to INN members, but what is it really about? In 2021, the program underwent a strategic planning process to really identify the change that we're looking to make in the world as an organization. And we came up with this vision to ensure that every community has access to relevant and reliable news. NewsMatch's role in this goal is to transform how communities support the journalism that serves them, which in turn creates more sustainable news organizations that can continue to inform their communities. We accomplished this transformation through 3 campaign pillars. The first and probably best well-known pillar is a matching gift campaign that incentivizes national, regional, and local giving to newsrooms. Through NewsMatch, individual donations made to nonprofit newsrooms between November 1st and December 31st are matched by a coalition of national funders up to a predetermined cap. Coming out of that strategic planning in 2021, the program shifted the allocation of national match funding to organizations with annual operating expenses under $1 million annually in order to concentrate funds where they're needed the most. But organizations who have expenses over $1 million and don't qualify for the national match are potentially eligible for partner funds and goal-based bonuses, both of which we'll cover in a little bit more detail later. The second pillar of NewsMatch is the learning and training elements that happen behind the scenes. In order to transform community giving to newsrooms, we need to ensure that you are adopting best practices and have the resources you need to generate support for your organization. INN works closely with News Revenue Hub, a service organization which helps nonprofit newsrooms implement and experiment with fundraising models to offer training, toolkits, and coaching to help newsrooms run their annual fundraising campaign. This is an incredibly valuable component of the campaign because it really sets you up for success in running campaigns of your own outside of just NewsMatch as well. The third pillar of the program is all about building public awareness about the value of nonprofit news. NewsMatch is a unique opportunity for hundreds of newsrooms and dozens of funders nationwide to say at the same time, our communities need to support nonprofit journalism, and here's why. That really helps to build a case of support for nonprofit news as an industry. We as NewsMatch lead these promotional efforts to help new audiences discover and support nonprofit newsrooms. The combination of these 3 elements is what enables us as a program and as an industry to make a case for journalism as a valuable cause to support across the country, which is our ultimate goal. So let's get into the basics. One of the fundamental questions people have is, what is a matching gift campaign? Basically, a matching gift campaign is when you leverage one large pot of funds in order to inspire others to give. So for every dollar given to your organization by an individual donor, your pooled funds match this gift, which unlocks double the funds for your organization. Matching gifts have been shown to be highly motivating to compel individuals to give when you want them to, and to give more money than they otherwise would. So this match is a way to incentivize your individual donors. For large donors, contributing to a local or community match creates a clear return on investment for a cause that they're passionate about, which in this case is your journalism. Matching gifts are a powerful factor in generating support year over year through NewsMatch. Since 2017, a combined $27 million in matching funds provided through NewsMatch as the program have been leveraged to raise over $192 million in individual donations. That means the match returns 7 times the individual giving. We often see organizations exceeding the amount of the match via individual giving because the match itself is such an exciting catalyst for people to give. As you drive that match total higher through securing your own community matches or getting additional partner funds, that individual giving value just has the capacity to keep growing. While growth in individual giving has been the central marker of success for the program, we also noticed that something bigger was happening among the NewsMatch participants. NewsMatch has provided a pathway for major donors, local and regional foundations, and even some small businesses to invest in independent news outlets in the form of community or additional match funds. The national match funds are what you get from NewsMatch and what we raise from a pool of funders like the Knight Foundation and Democracy Fund. But as you can see from this graph, we're seeing newsrooms model the same framework and generate their own matches by going to major donors in their communities or local businesses and community foundations and inviting them to join the matching campaign. Often, newsrooms leverage the national NewsMatch campaign model and messages to independently secure these gifts on their own. This concept of leverage has become a more central function of the program over the last 2 years, and it's critical to program development because as the nonprofit news field and INN both continue to grow, that large national pool just can't continue to stretch and stay meaningful. As you can see, in 2021, newsrooms secured over $4 million in additional community matches from 929 individual funders. This is the largest bulk community match amount and number of donors to date, and it was nearly equivalent to the match funds issued formally through NewsMatch. So what does this tell us? This says that collaborative fundraising and awareness building works. When we're all making the same case at the same time, communities nationwide will step up to support the journalism that matters to them. So now that we've gotten through that, what does a campaign goal and funding actually look like? For the sake of simplicity, let's use an organization with a total campaign goal of $100,000. So all in, they're looking to make $100,000 from November through December. A portion of the campaign will come from your NewsMatch matching gifts. The amount that NewsMatch awards is called the campaign match cap, which is determined by the number of organizations that participate, as well as the amount of funds that we're able to fundraise. Like last year, the national match funds will only be distributed to newsrooms with annual operating expenses under $1 million. But again, partner funds and goal-based bonus awards will still be available to all organizations regardless of size. So you've heard me mention this a couple of times at this point, but what the heck are partner funds actually? Partner funds are additional matching grants awarded to a selection of newsrooms working in specific geographic regions or issue areas. These funds generally come from funders who may not have supported journalism before, but invest in nonprofits around Chicago or have an arm dedicated to supporting health or wellness or other specific issues. We've seen this as an effective way to engage funders who may be new to supporting journalism. And we see this as the future of the program, since it will enable us to build more sustainable pipelines of diverse philanthropic organizations that support smaller cohorts of organizations nationwide. So again, looking to scale that impact by kind of breaking down the opportunity. While funders ultimately make the call about the organizations they support, this year we're looking to expand the availability of these partner funds in order to open additional pathways to regional or interest-based funders and get more money to organizations like yours. You may have noticed on your application that you were asked to elaborate on some of your coverage areas. Gathering this information is helping us target the specific partner funds determined by INN research around industry needs and priorities. All participating organizations, regardless of size, may be eligible for partner funds, and we'll be releasing more information about that throughout the course of the summer and early fall so that you can plan accordingly when it comes to your campaign period. Now that we've gained some clarity around partner funds, let's return to the actual basics of the matching gift campaign, starting with what gifts are eligible to be matched. Donations received during the campaign period, which runs from November 1st through December 31st, are eligible to be matched. NewsMatch will match up to $1,000 in donations made by a single donor within the campaign period. NewsMatch will only match donations made by individuals, not businesses or organizations. Contributions through donor advised funds, family foundations, or other individuals are eligible to be matched if they can reasonably be seen as coming from a single individual supporting your work. So those kind of get reviewed on a case-by-case basis. And if you have any questions about that throughout the course of your campaign, you're more than welcome to reach out. When reporting your donations, gifts may either be counted towards your NewsMatch dollar for dollar match or as an additional match fund, but not both. So for example, if you have a donor who's contributing $500 to match donations you receive, their gift would be considered a community match and would not be reported as a gift to be matched by NewsMatch. We will match anonymous donations of $1,000 and under. Just a reminder that INN's member standards require that all members list their donors of $5,000 and above. Coming back to the match cap, because you'll hear it referenced a lot throughout the course of the campaign, the match cap is the maximum amount that NewsMatch awards in matching funds. This does not include partner funds or goal-based bonuses, and it is only available to those newsrooms with operating expenses that fall under $1 million annually. We announced the initial match cap, in September, but NewsMatch continues to fundraise throughout the year, so we'll continue to provide monthly updates after that. We've heard from newsrooms in the past that having the match cap earlier in the year enables them to go out to their community and message the need for community matches to hit their overall goal, which is why we announced that initial cap as early as September, but it may change in October, November, and even December. While I think more money for your organization is always a good thing, we've also heard that it can sometimes be challenging to pivot and message those additional goals as the match cap increases. So we'll have resources available to support you in updating your messaging and one-on-one coaching to help fine-tune that campaign messaging as we go through the year. I'll pause there and see if anybody has questions. You can feel free to drop them in the chat. All right. So then beyond that initial national match and partner funds, the second batch of matches that you'll be working on are community matches, which we also call local matches or additional match funds. You'll kind of hear those three terms used interchangeably. Those are the matches that you can go out and secure on your own. So we furnish the national match cap, but you might go out and secure $10,000 or more in community match funds. In 2021, we had organizations raising $50,000 and more in additional matches to support their year-end campaigns. And these came in the form of large gifts from single donors or by combining multiple smaller gifts from individual donors to create their own match funds. These additional matches can come from major donors, foundations, businesses. We often see them from board members, and it's a huge opportunity for growth in your newsroom, whether you're large or small. If you remember, total additional matches secured last year nearly equaled NewsMatch investment. Securing these additional matches builds sustainability by creating additional funding pathways for your organization. I definitely understand that securing community matches can seem daunting, especially if this is new territory for you. You're not familiar with going out or comfortable with going out to ask for these kind of large gifts. But NewsMatch provides resources to support you in securing these additional match funds. Our local match donor guide is a great starting point to understand the local match donor cycle. We know that securing additional matches looks different depending on your organization's size, makeup, coverage, and even the location. So we'll be offering individualized coaching to provide guidance around what this process might look for your organization specifically. You can find a lot of resources available about this on NewsMatch HQ, which you can find at support.newsmatch.org, and which you can review at any time so you can kind of get started at your own pace. If there's any additional support around community matches that you think would be helpful, I encourage you to drop your suggestion in the chat or send us an email at hello@newsmatch.org. Finally, the last source of your campaign funding is coming directly from your donors. These are the people who are making one-time gifts or recurring donations during your campaign. So from November 1st through December 31st. One exciting opportunity that we offer through NewsMatch for these individual donors, besides the match itself, obviously, is a new member incentive for organizations that are eligible for that national match. This means that any recurring monthly donation that begins during the campaign period will be matched at the 12-month value of that donation up to $1,000. So for example, if a new member starts a donation at $10 a month on December 1st, NewsMatch will match the 12-month value of that, which means it will be matched $120. Keep in mind that this is still under the parameters of the $1,000 individual giving limit. So if a new person makes a donation of $500 a month, while I'm sure that would be welcome, we'll only match it up to $1,000. All right, I know that that was kind of a fire hose of information, as probably surfacing a lot of questions. So your best, most immediate resource is NewsMatch HQ, which I referenced before and includes frequently asked questions, guides, previously recorded webinars, and more. It's also being constantly updated with the questions we receive, so you'll always be getting new information from that resource. You can access it at support.newsmatch.org. You're also more than welcome to reach out directly via hello@newsmatch.org, and somebody from our team will help you out. All right, now that we've gone through the fundamentals of the program, we will go through the 4 stages of NewsMatch, because obviously you know that the campaign runs from November through December. So you might be thinking, why the heck did I have to sign up and come to this meeting in June? So let's break it down. There's a lot on the line during the campaign period itself, and we want to make sure that you are comfortable and ready for it when it gets here. So the first stage, which we're in right now, is training and strategy. Our team is putting together trainings and tools to help you develop your campaign strategy, as well as help you see how this strategy might play into things that you should be considering all year long. So what you learn through these trainings, we hope that you're able to apply to a spring fundraiser or a fundraiser that launches in September. The next phase is campaign readiness. This is when you take the steps to get your messaging and platforms actually ready for the campaign. So here you're building your emails, you're developing your graphics, and you're really buttoning up your assets for the campaign itself. Then we have the match period, which runs from November through December. And this is when you actually ask your readers and your listeners for donations. And finally, in January, after you have taken a deep breath, we'll be in the reporting and impact phase, which is where we collect information from you and you submit your campaign results to the Miami Foundation in order to verify your match. This is the component of the program that helps NewsMatch as a whole evaluate the impact of the campaign. Before we do a bit of a deeper dive into the actual stages themselves, I wanted to point you to a couple of resources to help you get oriented with the campaign. The first is a guide to getting started. It goes into a little further detail about what to expect during each stage. It's also a really helpful resource to reference throughout the entire campaign and includes checklists of what you should have completed by each stage. This is a great resource to share with other members of your team in order to help you get organized. So I will follow up with a link to that, but I highly recommend checking that out. Second, just plugging NewsMatch HQ again. This is really going to be the central location for all of the resources that we have to share with you. So you can access that at support.newsmatch.org. All right, so diving into the stages. As I mentioned, right now we're in the training and strategy phase. This is the time when you're really thinking about how NewsMatch fits into your overall goals. It's a good time to determine how much money you need to raise, as well as identify any other donor or membership goals. So maybe you're less concerned about the total amount you raise, but you're looking to build your donor base by 100 new donors. You're going to want to start considering that early on in the planning process. Some key things for you to start thinking about include: what are those campaign goals and targets? What does your support breakdown look like regardless of the cap? So you know the cap is going to be X amount. How much are you looking to secure in local matches? What are you hoping to secure in one-time and recurring gifts? Next, now is a great opportunity to make improvements to your donor platform. This is the vehicle where your donors are actually going to make their gift of support. We have previously recorded webinars on this topic that you can view at support.newsmatch.org, and we'll have tech consulting available to you to review your donation pages and platforms, which is a great opportunity to really audit your site and make sure that it's straightforward for your donors. You can also start registering for NewsMatch webinars. Our next one is actually next week, coming right up on July 6th, and we'll teach you how to improve your calls to action on your site. And many of our webinars are hosted by our training partner, News Revenue Hub. Finally, I encourage you to enroll in the Fundamentals of Digital Fundraising newsletter course if you have not participated in it previously. Again, that one is put together by our partners at News Revenue Hub, and it's a 5 to 6 week course that pops into your inbox each week and includes some best practices and homework assignments. And if you're new to NewsMatch or looking for a refresher for what you should be doing, this is a great resource for you. I will, again, follow up directly with a link for you to sign up with that. The next phase, which runs from August through October, is the campaign readiness phase. As you start to get closer to campaign execution, here are some of the just key to-dos. First, you're looking to secure your community matches and boost your cap. This is a great time to rally your major donors, board members, and more to pledge support that will help you secure that additional match. Next, you're going to want to make sure you have your email marketing tool ready to go, whether that's MailChimp or Constant Contact. Since many of the organizations we work with are digital first, this is a key way to communicate with your members and readers. So it's definitely important to make sure you have something set up. Again, this is something that we can support either through coaching, one-on-one coaching, or their previous webinars on this subject. Next is defining team roles and responsibilities, which for some of you may not be the case. I know that there are a lot of people who are doing kind of all of this on their own, but others, you may be emailing, using direct mail, and utilizing social media, and the people who do that might not all be the same person. So it's important to identify who on your team is going to be supporting those efforts in order to divide the work. It's also a great opportunity to get everybody involved. Again, I did not work in development at my organization, but I did help execute the campaign because I was responsible for getting out our newsletters and posting to social media. So it's definitely an opportunity to make sure that everybody is able to kind of touch this program. The next step is to prepare to collect information for reporting requirements, which is hard to think about in June. It's not super exciting to think about the reporting you're going to have to do now, but we'll be leading webinars with the Miami Foundation later this year about what you'll need. But before you run your campaigns, it's going to be really helpful to have already set up your systems to track your progress. Finally, you're going to want to update your publications profile on findyournews.org. I'll be sending more information about that next week or the following week so that you can get a jump start on that. And then you are going to want to review the campaign toolkit and roadmap. So what are the campaign toolkit and roadmap? It's pretty exciting. This is basically what we'll provide you with in order to get you about 90% of the way through your campaign. So they include pitches, templates, ads, all of which are customizable and can be tweaked to resonate with your organization. So this is really an out-of-the-box campaign that's customizable to fit your goals and audience, but will give you kind of that foundational work that you need to do that. When you end up seeing the toolkit and roadmap, it might be a little overwhelming at first, but everything is broken down into bite-sized chunks in order to make it more manageable for both you and your team. We're aiming to release the toolkit in September so you can get a jump start on your planning and kind of see what that looks like. So the third stage is the match period itself, which, to be honest, is going to be a bit of a blur. This is when you'll be pushing hard for support and really reaching out to those listeners and readers to support your organization. So first, you're going to want to spread your campaign message. So NewsMatch will develop a campaign theme, which will be tied to INN's overarching messaging, which this year is Who's Your Source? And that is really anchored around sharing the value of nonprofit journalism and making that case. You'll also want to track your progress towards your goals because it'll help you develop your public-facing message and identify potential needs to pivot your strategy. So maybe you're on track and doing a really great job and you're going to want to strive to hit a stretch goal. That's a great opportunity. Or maybe you notice a little bit of a lull in giving, and so you need to figure out ways to build more momentum. So being iterative and is going to be really reliant on your ability to kind of track that progress. You'll also want to promote your participation in this national movement. It's not every day that we get to see over 300 newsrooms nationwide mobilizing to raise money. So it's really important to amplify that network. You'll be able to subscribe to receive weekly email assignments to really keep you focused week by week and kind of have that process broken down into manageable chunks. And finally, whether you need help with a donation page or your messaging or pivoting your goals, we will have coaching available to support you throughout the campaign to ensure your success. So the match period is one of the busiest times of year for fundraising and includes Giving Tuesday, which you've probably heard of. It's a global day of giving, which amplifies nonprofit organizations nationwide, but we have our own little spin on it. And we amplify the day by using the hashtag Giving Newsday to raise awareness of the value of nonprofit journalism. So you might see some references to that both in the campaign toolkit and messaging. Later this summer, we'll have a webinar about how to really harness the power of collective giving days like Giving Tuesday. I've also heard from other newsrooms who have, kind of days of amplification in their own communities or around a certain coverage area. Like if you are somebody who focuses on the environment, pegging a Giving Day to Earth Day is pretty popular. So that's going to be a great opportunity to learn more about how you can really amplify giving on those specific days. All right, the final phase of NewsMatch is the reporting process. So you're going to want to take a minute and step back, pat yourself and your team on the back for all of the hard work you've done. You're also going to want to thank your donors for their support. During this phase, you'll prepare your documentation for the campaign. This enables us to verify the information to make sure you're getting your match, as well as measure the impact of the program. We've started to integrate the NewsMatch reporting process into the INN index. For those of you who might not be familiar with the index, it's a comprehensive survey of the nonprofit news field that INN does annually. And we've just found that it simplifies the process when we have the NewsMatch reporting process as part of that index, because otherwise you're being asked some duplicative questions. But this reporting really helps us understand NewsMatch's role in the growth of the industry, which enables us to then make a case to funders about the value of the program and be able to support the program year over year. Getting to what I am sure you kind of care most about, when will you receive your actual NewsMatch funds? After you've gone through all 4 phases, done your reporting, submitted your documentation and your index, our team will vet all of the information provided and aim to disperse payments by March of 2023. So depending on what your fiscal year looks like, whether it's aligns with the calendar year or if it's June to June, please be aware that that is when you can expect to receive your funding in Q1 of 2023. So we went through that really quickly, but that's the program in a nutshell. NewsMatch was a program designed to build support for nonprofit news organizations across the country, but there's a ton of diversity amongst the works that you do. So it's important to customize this program for you. If you want to experiment and try something new, we encourage you to do it. I would love if you shared your ideas with me, share it with our listserv on Slack. If you just want to weave what we provide into your existing year-end plans, that's great too. The campaign toolkit will enable you to do that. This is really, a program that should be customizable and work for you. So we're here to make that happen. No matter how you choose to execute the program, we're here to support you. So again, we'll be sending training emails once a week to primary contacts that you listed on your application. If you want anybody added to those emails, you're more than welcome to reach out to me at hello@newsmatch.org and I'll get them added to our contact list. Also, again, NewsMatch HQ is our comprehensive knowledge base, which will provide all of the information you need on the program. So you can use support.newsmatch.org to find templates, guides, previous webinar recordings, upcoming webinars, anything that you would need about the program. And finally, as somebody who is relatively new to the program, I know that it's a lot of information and sometimes it's hard to even know where to start. So we're always available. The NewsMatch team is always available at hello@newsmatch.org for any and all questions that you might have. It looks like this session, we will be serving over 300 newsrooms, which is really exciting. So we appreciate your patience, but we will respond to you as quickly as possible. So as I mentioned, I will be following up to all of you with links to NewsMatch HQ, the guide to getting started, a sign up for the newsletter course, a schedule of upcoming webinars, which includes our upcoming one next week. But with the time we have left, I would love to hear your questions, any feedback you had on the application. I'll just kind of open the floor. You can either drop your notes in the chat. If you want to raise your hand, I think I can enable you to share as well. All right, well, I'm not seeing anything. So I am happy to give everybody half an hour back to go about what I'm sure are busy days. Like I said, though, always available via email if you have any questions. I'm so excited to work on NewsMatch 2022 with you all. And if you have any questions, hit me up. All right, thank you.